Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Lake, in response to a question from Senator McCormick, you said that you were proud of the way you ran your campaigns in 2022 and 2024. I want to ask you a question. On September 27, 2024, you gave a TV interview about your opponent, then House member, now our colleague, Senator Gallego, in which you said he is, quote, controlled by the cartels. His own father was a Colombian drug trafficker, and so he's got links to the cartel. A PolitiFact article on October 3, a few days later, rated that pants on fire. And the title of the article, and I'd like to submit it for the record, Mr. Chair, is In Arizona Senate Race, Kari Lake Fabricates Link Between Ruben Gallego and Drug Cartels. Now, this is pretty undiplomatic behavior. And just for my colleagues, I hope you might read this story. Ruben, our colleague, has written a memoir about his very troubled upbringing and about the fact that he was abandoned by his father, who then did get into criminal trouble. He was abandoned by his father. He had to be raised by his mother. He was so furious at his father that he changed his last name to be his mother's maiden name, not his father's name. He talks about graduating from boot camp as a Marine, and after years of abandonment, his dad tried to show up and take credit for his own graduation from Marine boot camp. And he writes about how furious that made him and still makes him. He writes about how ashamed he is of his father, how angry he is at his father. Abandonment by a father is one of the most seminal tragedies of life. I mean, go back to the biblical phrase, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? This is not something to fool around with. Ms. Lake accused one of our sitting colleagues of being controlled by the cartels. You had no evidence then, nor do you have any evidence now, that our colleague Senator Gallego is controlled by cartels, do you, Ms. Lake?
Well, we provided the receipts. The father was a high-level drug trafficker, trafficking hundreds of thousands.
You said that Ruben Gallego was controlled by the cartels. You provided no evidence. This was rated pants on fire, a lie. You had no evidence then, and you have no evidence now that Ruben Gallego is controlled by cartels. Isn't that right?
I thank you for the question, Senator Kaine. I do appreciate it. I don't know, and I'm not here to do reputational control or reputational
How about an apology to our colleague? If you made that claim he was controlled by cartels, and now you're saying you don't know what the facts are, then you're acknowledging that your charge was wrong. How about apologizing to our colleague?
I don't believe my charge was wrong. Ruben Gallego's father is a high-level
That's not the question I asked you.
He was a felon.
That's not the question. You asserted he was controlled by cartels. You had no evidence then. You have no evidence now. You're unwilling to admit it. And here's something that's even worse, Mr. Chair. That was during the heat of a campaign. Sometimes we say things during campaigns that we go too far. She's continued to repeat this as a sitting member of the Trump administration. A couple months ago, Ruben Gallego put out a tweet against the invasion of Venezuela. He didn't mention Ms. Lake. He just said he was against it. And she, at 2:35 in the morning, the following day responded, "You are a member of a Mexican cartel family. You are also a fraud. No one is surprised by your take." She's continuing to repeat a lie. She just told the committee she has no idea whether it's true or false, but she was glad to say it, and she won't retract it now. That should be disqualifying. Mr. Segar, I got a question for you. Your role is not only to be the Assistant Secretary, for which you're nominated, but also to be key on the Inter-American Foundation. That is a congressionally established foundation. It has sustained robust bipartisan support in the FY26 appropriations bill. Will you abide by the law which states, quote, "The foundation shall have perpetual succession unless sooner dissolved by Congress," and commit to us not to take any action to dismantle or imperil the work of the foundation unless dissolved by Congress?
Well, Senator, thank you for the question. And also, I just want to commend the work you did as a missionary in Honduras. I also was a missionary in Latin America. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to do. As it relates to your question, I will follow all laws, Senator.
And so that particular law, that the foundation will have perpetual accession unless sooner dissolved by Congress, is one you will follow?
Like I mentioned earlier, I will follow all laws.
All right, thank you. I yield back.
What began as a routine confirmation hearing quickly evolved into a much larger conversation about political accountability, truth in public life, and the limits of campaign rhetoric. Senator Tim Kaine wasn't simply revisiting an old campaign controversy for political theater. He was raising a fundamental question about whether public officials should be held responsible when they make serious allegations about another person without substantiating them. Kaine's line of questioning was deliberate. Rather than debating immigration policy or border security, subjects where Democrats and Republicans often have stark philosophical differences, he focused on a very specific statement Kari Lake made during her Senate campaign. According to Kaine, Lake had publicly claimed that then-Representative Ruben Gallego was controlled by the cartels. That's not a routine political jab. It's an allegation suggesting corruption, criminal influence, and betrayal of public trust. In American politics, accusations of cartel ties carry extraordinary weight because they imply connections to organizations responsible for drug trafficking, violence, and organized crime.